On my end, it's Cowboys After Hours, and we got Cole's Cowboys here. Definitely some fun collab stuff coming along on this end of the channel, but good to connect with him. This was something that was in the works for a while now. We finally had the day to do it. What's going on, Coles?
What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I'm going to just do a quick audio check. All right, cool. We should be good there. If we have any audio issues, please let me know. I have my chat on my end, and for those on Cole's end, please just let me know if we have any issues. But we've had a interesting off season, probably more busier than others, to say the
Exactly.
least. But feels like there's a lot left on the table for these Cowboys. But let's go ahead, and I think we should start off with the off season. The Cowboys didn't really lose a whole lot in the sense of how you compare to years past. I mean, realistically, the main piece you lost was Connor McGovern.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like the Cowboys really downgraded a whole lot, if at all. What do you think on that?
Yeah, man. I feel like we're picking up exactly where we left off at. Of course, we lost Conor McGovern. That's easily replaceable in my opinion. Zeke, we don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been hearing some chatter that he might come back. As far as me, I was a fan of actually kind of cutting bread, But if he comes back, as long as he comes back for the cheap, I'm good. But I like the moves and I can't even talk. Aggressiveness that we had going on, like as far as
Right.
the trades, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's new to me, man. Like the trades, Stephon Gilmore, we got Brandon Cooks. That's new territory to me. So I'm all in for it, man.
Oh, absolutely. I am currently putting your channel link in my comment section.
I
So let me go
appreciate
ahead and put, yeah, no worries. If you guys want to go check out Cole's content, please click the link at the top or pinned comment and you will be at his channel page, which you could subscribe to. So that is good there. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think that the Cowboys did what I wanted them to do. I mean, I think that's pretty much self-explanatory there.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody is what's the word I'm looking for? Let me just make sure I don't have any issues there. Okay. I think that when I have these conversations about wanting the front office to do things, I want them to do things that ultimately don't put us in a bind come the draft. Like,
Exactly.
I don't want to get anxious where it's like, if this team doesn't take this particular position, you're SOL. And I think that they've done a good job at that. I mean, I'm not gonna knock them. There are individuals that are like, oh well, you guys are so negative, and you, and now you wanna
We have
like
the right to be negative.
yeah, no, we have the right to be upset because they haven't done stuff like this, and you you do things that every other modern front office does, and that's listen, don't be splashy. You don't have to be splashy. Just you gotta plug up the hole. So
Yeah.
I feel like our big moves have already come and gone, and that is getting Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks, in my opinion, probably the two best additions. Or if you're trying to put a date on this, it's probably the best acquisitions you've had since Brandon Carr back in 2012 in the grand scheme of things. I mean, what do you think on that? Do you feel the
Yeah,
same way?
yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like they probably did have a little PTSD when it came to making trades and being interactive in the off season. And for free agency, like technically they're not free agent moves or trades, but I
Mhm.
feel like I feel like it's more than just Jerry and Steven. I feel like it's a big part of Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy stepping in, saying, "Hey, we need to take this direction because I've been in the system. I've been along. I've been doing the things y'all way for the past 3 seasons, and we're making it there, but we just don't have we just don't
Mhm.
have those extra pieces. So I think that they finally giving them the keys to the car and letting them drive a little bit as far as those moves.
I definitely agree with you there. I am a firm believer that Mike McCarthy has been the engine for the change because a lot of the times you could see it. When we had Jason Garrett here, there was and if you want to throw in the whole oh, we got Morris Claiborne and oh, we went after Brandon Carr the 1 year, okay, fine. But
Yeah.
after that, minimal stuff. That was the we like our guys
Yeah.
mindset that killed the Cowboys for years. And I think that what people have to understand is when you have a culture that's ingrained for 10 years, and I talked with BJ Nix over at the Pick Six Sports group over there, I akin it to being like a store, right? Like if you work in a store setting or in a company and you had the same manager that had a particular leadership style that was not good for the company and they were mid and all this other stuff, all the employees are going to have the same mindset or they're going to do certain things because they haven't been told otherwise. And then when you come in to make the changes, you have to get new personnel, you have to put new procedures in place, and that takes a while to do. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing from the Cowboys is now, especially with that Jason Garrett offense going out the door, thank God.
Yes. Finally.
And we heard a little bit more from Mike McCarthy at the owners / coaches
Yes.
meeting about how he wants to keep things simple. And I want to kind of turn it to that attention because this is going to be the first time that we're seeing. I'm not going to say it's like a full on brand new install, but what we're seeing is an adaptation of the West Coast offense, which, by the way, that's what Mike McCarthy ran in Green Bay until he gave up play calling sometime, I think, after 2015, 2016. So, I mean, how do you feel on that? What do you think about us going to the West Coast offense? What are you looking for there?
Hey, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's definitely a new route that we need to take. We've been stuck in this predictable, awful Killamore scheme, all these out routes, these hitches, these curves, like predictable,
Mm-hmm.
spread out. I don't like that. I feel like the change of scenery with the West Coast offense will be more beneficial for Dak Prescott. We don't have to rely on him to make these long down the hill, throws. Like he can just keep it short and rely on wide receivers to get that yak yardage. That's what
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing the West Coast offense is about. Plus, I'm also happy to know that with Brian Schottenheimer, very run heavy, and that's what we need, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that Kellen Moore is allergic to is the run. And I got a buddy, he's a Chargers fan. He thinks they struck gold. Like I literally be trying to, explain to this guy, hey man, I just want to save you from I know you Justin Herbert gonna get like 5,000 yards.
He's gonna get his, yeah.
What I'm saying? He gonna definitely get his. But y'all gonna come short. It's a reason why Austin Eckler is leaving. He don't like to run the ball. And now he's somewhere where nobody can't tell him what to do. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that we're gonna be a lot run
Right.
heavy. I'm hoping that our scheme can be like a 3-back, scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I like how the Eagles, I hate to say it, but how the Eagles do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that, how Mike McCarthy calls the plays in 2023.
I agree with you there. I think the biggest thing is you want to make things simple for your offense and kind of the downfall of Kellen Moore was it was a no identity offense. You
Exactly.
didn't know what you were getting, and you got to find out that he kind of ran that at Boise State. He was kind of like, "I'll do my thing, and we'll go from there." Now, I don't think Kellen is stupid. I'm not saying that's what you're insinuating or anyone else is. I think the problem is that Kellen's whole offense requires like all these intricate like complex things where it's like, okay, if they work, it's awesome, but if it doesn't, it's like, what the hell? And I think for me, it's all about being effective with running the football.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore did not have a good run scheme. That's something that really killed the Cowboys in plenty of these times where they needed to run the ball. Like, for example, why are we not running draw plays? Like that's a key part of your offense, which if you saw during the Green Bay game, you were killing them with the draw, but you went away from that. And it didn't matter who you had, like Tony Pollard, Malik Davis, you name it. So that's the thing. And then getting to the whole Dak Prescott portion, I think that's the biggest thing. Like when I have conversations about the quarterback position, Dak is not a Patrick Mahomes alien type of quarterback where he's going to carry you, even though Mahomes needs, everybody needs help. Let's not lie there.
Yeah.
What I think it is that every front office recognizes the guy they have and you work with that. And if Dak Prescott, in my opinion, who's a at worst, top 12 quarterback, you should recognize, okay, this dude cannot win in these particular situations. So let's maybe work around that. That's what good teams do. And the Cowboys were like, you know what? How about you go carry a force because we want to make you look like a Mahomes? Because the Cowboys have that propensity to do that, which I hate. You should.
I don't get it. I mean,
I don't get it either. I really don't. I'm like, why are you forcing Dak to be something that he's not, which is a guy like a Mahomes where he can work with, arguably with little, even though I put very big air quotes because that's not true. Because
Yeah.
you see what Kansas City does, they make sure that their guys are loaded up with talent. But yeah, I'm really, really, really excited that the Cowboys are getting a West Coast philosophy. I think it's going to help guys like Jalen Tolbert because think about it. Those option routes are gone. And those things really kill young receivers when they come into the league because they have to learn how to do these things. And also that's a result of many interceptions and all that other stuff. So that's why I'm glad they're gone. And I think that with Brian Schottenheimer from Seattle, and also another key name is Mike Solari, the new O-line coach.
Yep.
Those two guys worked in unison like that. And Seattle was a really good run team, because they utilize outside zones and stuff like that, which is something that the Cowboys haven't run in quite some time. So I'm definitely happy to see that there. So a couple shout outs from the chat box. Stevie Mac, what's going on? Craig, KHYA level. Been watching the videos, had to subscribe. Thank you guys. Primetime Phil, Weapon X88. Everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate the support. If you haven't already, please make sure to like the video, not only here, but also on Coles' channel if you're watching it there. And also, please subscribe to Coles' channel. I have the link pinned in the comment above on my stream, that is. So,
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey, all right, and I just wanted to piggyback off of you basically the quarterback, so let's talk about how our front office set them up. They tried to be so much like the New England Patriots back when Tom Brady was there. That type of system where you don't need these stars, you can just do wide receiver by committee and all that crap. Unfortunately, we're not the New England Patriots, and Dak Prescott's not Tom Brady. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, they tried it in 2018, realized, hey, we can't do things with what Deontay, what's his name?
Deontay Thompson.
Thompson. Allen Hurns was like the biggest name that we had gotten, in the offseason. Like, none of that panned out, and they was forced to go out and get Amari Cooper. That's when everything started going good. Now you try to do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You putting all this pressure on a rookie, a third round rookie from Alabama. Alabama State.
Yes, Alabama State. Yep.
Alabama State. Now he was a dog in his conference. You know what I'm saying? He's in the NFL is different. You putting this pressure on him. And then you knock his confidence off. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I believe happened to Tolbert. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he is. I know he got, he was like, hey, I messed up then. It was just too much going on. I'm going to be ready this time. And I think they're going to move a little slower with him, seeing that we're not looking for him to be the guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to seeing what the young guys are going to do as far as Tolbert in this system. And, of course, we're going to lean on, our guys, as far as Gallup, CD, and Cook. So just piggyback on you. I believe that this system will be great for Dak Prescott and the young receivers as well that he's been working with, also at his home. So that's great. That's great to see.
I mean, at the end of the day, we have to remember, because even I have to catch myself because Dak Prescott's going to be 30 this year, which is crazy. Like, I keep forgetting that it's been that long since he's been in the league. And the Cowboys didn't decide to extend his contract yet, and they kind of put that behind closed doors, which is something that's interesting because usually they talk about that in the public. And it kind of looks like, based off of how I'm looking at it, 2023 is going to be like their version of all in, and then if things don't work out, you have the eject button for 2024. But listen, I don't have a problem with the Cowboys, and I'm a firm believer you have to throw picks at the quarterback position because you don't know what can happen. You don't know if a dude can have a career-ending injury. You don't know if a dude can get hurt and derail your season. So it's very important that they do take a look at that. There are guys in this draft class that they could definitely go after, but I definitely think that they need to shore up that offensive line. They did well with Tyler Smith last year. I had to eat crow on that, but I think that you need to do your due diligence there. And as for what you got to do there, I mean, listen, you kind of have to you got a whole new offensive system. We got you a little bit of weaponry. All right, we got to see something happen here. and I think that's what the Cowboys are probably looking at. But no, I definitely like what we're doing here. I think McCarthy's been doing a great job in terms of developing something here. I mean, it's going to be the 4th year. We'll see how things go.
Right.
But yeah. So talking about this draft, right?
Me too.
Um, I kind of see where the Cowboys are trying to position themselves. I'm not sure if you saw the comments from Jerry where he's talking about like putting Terrence Steele at left guard. Like
I saw I saw your comment on it, and I agree, man. It got to be a
that's
smoke screen.
there's no way. Like no, like so I
It's
understand that they
random, man. It's
yeah,
very
like why would you say that? Like and usually when the Cowboys say like, "Oh, we're going to do something internally" and
yeah.
all this other crap, that kind of tells me something to where it's like something's going on here. Like what are we doing here? Like you don't say
Exactly.
that given the circumstances because if that was the case, like 2021 would, wouldn't you have thought to put Terrence if you had Lyle Collins, wouldn't you have probably tried to put him there? Like, what are we
And
doing
then
here? Like,
right,
so
and what right? Were they talking about right
stupid.
guard, left guard, or right?
Left
Left
guard. They were
guard.
saying we're gonna play him at left guard. I'm like,
So basically, using
no.
like a swing. Like I'm not buying it. I really not buying it, and I'm like,
No, you don't do that. Like that is no, you do not do something. Like I can understand if it's like Tyler Smith, you have a guy on film that has done that. Cool. That's fine. And also like, they tried to do the same thing with granted different positions, but throwing a guy from guard to center. Okay, that's fine. But taking a dude from right tackle and putting him on a different side and a different position, no. I think that the Cowboys are going to
draft one.
they're going to draft a guy. I think they've made it clear. If you look at their 30-day visits, they've actually started putting in some guys. They had the guy out of UCLA, Mafi. That's a name you want to keep an eye out for the later rounds. Probably your 2nd-round pick or 3rd-round pick if they decide to go one way in the 1st round. And then Steve Avila is definitely a name to keep an eye out on. I mean, it's just how they're talking. They kind of sometimes give it away. And I put a tweet out saying I'm thinking tight end or offensive line because of how they've talked about it. And again, it has to make sense. We don't know how the draft board is going to fall when we get to 26. You could end up seeing Bijan Robinson going to the Cowboys. You could see JSN going to the Cowboys. I don't know. It really depends on how the draft board falls. But if the Cowboys are smart, go get that left guard and let's boogie there.
And this is not a popular opinion. If Bijan there, I don't want us. I don't want us to get him, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I want us to get him. It'd be great, but I kind of don't. I'll be like, man, like it's other backs out there that's probably just as good as him.
I agree.
And I feel like we don't have the depth that we need for all linemen. Like every year, we always got a situation. Ever since really 2018, since Travis Frederick was gone, we've been having O-line problems. They've been getting injured. No, we always have to play musical chairs with this offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
It's teams out there. I can't stand talking about them. But that team that we don't like, they got a lot of depth at offensive, and they probably might draft one. And it's basically a rotational piece that's going to keep them solid.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to be a run-heavy team, we definitely need those guys, you know what I'm saying, stacked up front. So I'm all about getting like an offensive lineman at the first and just go with, probably go linebacker, running back at the 3rd. And like you said, get a quarterback as well. You never know.
Yeah, you don't know. And that's really the fact of the matter being that, whether people like it or not, we have to understand these guys are human and they're not going to stay healthy all the time, especially as they age, that's a real big part of the game. And even the offensive line, where I think the Cowboys, and this is what I don't like, is with the offensive line, they got very not greedy. They were very spoiled because when you have 3 all-pros on your line and realistically the only thing you have to just throw in there is a right tackle and a left guard and the other 3 spots are set, you're kind of like, whatever. But that's the problem is that these dudes will start breaking down. Like Zach Martin could be the next domino to fall and we don't know it yet. And I was very big last year I was like, or not even last year. I'm sorry. In this offseason before the beginning of it, I'm like, you might need to draft a right guard in the future because Zach Martin's like 34 now, 35.
Yeah,
Like he's getting
he's
up
up
there in age.
there.
So I think that you have to start making these considerations because that's just where we're at. And I know people because quarterback's a hot button issue, and I do see. What's up, Mike? Cowboy Corner. Two Dak guys on here. Come on now. You need some spiciness on here. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan through in and through out. If Dak Prescott's the guy that's leading the charge, I'm with him. But if it's someone else, I'm not going to complain. I'm all for whatever the team decides to do. That's just my personal view. And again, I think that you shouldn't be afraid. This is what irritates me too, is you shouldn't be afraid to draft a quarterback. You shouldn't.
Yeah, because you
And the
never
Cowboys,
know. I mean, same thing with Romo.
you
When
don't
we had
know.
Romo, we was like, okay, he's finally back. 2015 was horrible. 2016, we got Romo, we good. People weren't sure about Dak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Mississippi. I went to Mississippi State. I know how he was. I was all on board with him because that's different. But
Right.
you never know, man. Tony Romo got hurt in the preseason. And then next thing you know it, nobody expected Dak Prescott to have that season. Here we are, you know what I'm saying? So
You never know.
maybe a Hendon Hooker, quote unquote, might be that guy. But they bringing in a dude from Purdue. I don't even know his name.
I think it's O'Connell.
Oh yeah, O'Connell. Yup.
Yeah.
Bringing him in. Who knows? I don't know nothing about him, but
Yeah, I mean that's just the name of the game, though. Like you never know, and that's something I even criticized the Cowboys during the Tony Romo thing. That whole era is that like, and also that 2015 season's a prime example of why you draft late quarterbacks because you could get something, or at least you have a prime backup, and that's something McCarthy has been known to do in Green Bay, and I'm a huge believer in that because you never know when someone gets hurt. Hey, I need that break in case of emergency glass to go through and be like, all right, I got the guy, and hey, he's not good to be a starter, but he could definitely hold down the fort and all this other shit. But look, that's just where we stand, and I don't really care. It's all for winning a Super Bowl. I do not give a shit at this point. I'm just gonna whoever's playing on game day, you have my undying support. Cooper Rush was the same way. Listen, I'm all for him. If that's what they wanted to go with, I don't care. I just want to win, and I'm pretty sure we're all in the same boat as Cowboys fans. So, I know that one of the biggest things also of the offseason was the Zeke release, which was definitely hard for some Cowboys fans. For me, it sucked because it was like you wasted another talent. I understand that where he was at in his career, he wasn't the top guy that he would, when he came into the league, but it had to be done, I feel. And what's weird, Cole, is that the Cowboys, specifically Jerry Jones, was like, oh, we never gave him a opportunity to reduce his salary. We just cut him, which is kind of weird considering how they like Zeke. And it's like now, oh, the door isn't fully shut. And I think Will Greer's still on the team. So he would have to give up number 15 and the whole, like, oh, he's going to come back with number 15. Listen.
Let me tell you what I think they're doing.
Go ahead.
So I believe that they knew that they probably wanted to see, okay, let's see how other teams will respond to us, letting him go. He's on the market. Who's going to go out for him? So he put out his list of teams that he believed he want to go to, allegedly. That's what his agent did. And none of the teams bit. And no teams has bitten or tried or called. So now they like, oh, okay. Nobody hit up Zeke. Well, if he want to come back, we can go ahead and bring him back. He always welcome to come back to Dallas. But we can't give him that contract he wants because why will nobody else wants you? So you can always come back to us, but you got to get that veteran minimum. That's how I feel like they're figuring this out. And if they doing it, if that's what they really planning on doing, kudos to them. I feel like personally they should leave him alone, but they love Zeke. Jerry loves Zeke, and he gonna find a way to be like, hey, he can still come. I'm sure Mike McCarthy is still on board with Zeke, but he's not gonna have that. Leverage of like when I guess I don't know if the story was right. From what I understood, he didn't want to be that rotational guy. He wanted to be the lead guy.
That was the vibe. Yeah, that's what I've been told is that he wanted to be the lead guy. They're like, sorry, nah, you gotta.
and I think they're getting away from that scheme. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they, we're not that team that has a exclusive back anymore. I believe they have
Mhm.
like a run committee, three back, type of committee, and I think that's what they want to stick to. And
I
as
agree.
far as like, I mean, just imagine having Rojo, Pollard, and Zeke in your rotation. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah, that ain't it. I
it
don't
ain't
like.
bad, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you have Zeke can go through those, short mouth, the things that we basically use him for. It'll be less tread using on him, less tread using on
Mhm.
Pollard, especially with him coming from this injury. And then
Right.
Jones is an explosive back as well. So I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do a committee at anything, running back is the position to do it. It doesn't make any sense to pay running backs in this day and age because you can, and the league shows it. You can get production from any dude as long as he's semi-talented, and that's no disrespect to these guys. I want him to get paid. I'm happy Zeke got his money because you need to get your money when you can. Same thing with Pollard. Glad he signed his tag because I'm all for the players getting their money at the end of the day. These are billionaires versus regular players slash millionaires at this point. That's just how I view it. However, what's interesting, and here's the thing, Zeke, I love you, but there's a reason they let you go. And also the whole, oh, they'll bring him back. Dude, you don't do all these social media posts and and you gave away 21 that quickly to be like, yeah, you could just come on back. Zeke. And not only that,
Yeah,
that would tell me you're not learning your lesson. And especially if the Cowboys, like when you look at their running back room, you got Pollard, Rojo, Rico Dowdle, who's always freaking hurt, so he's
he
probably going
always
to be a
hurt.
camp out. But I love him. I think that he can be a good running back if he's healthy, but that's the
Yeah.
problem. Hurt
Oh
guys
yeah,
stay
I
hurt.
forgot this.
Yeah. And Malik Davis.
Yeah.
I think you can add a guy in the draft. They've met with Tajay Spears, and I
Oh
believe
yeah.
that they met with Rojo, the other Rojo from Texas, the other running back behind Bijan. So that's going to be an interesting conversation there. But
They
I think
didn't.
that's the way forward. I mean, the Cowboys nearly had this thing figured out before they took Zeke. In 2015, you plugged in Darren McFadden, dude got 1,000 yards in 10 games or whatever it was, 10, 11 games. And
Right.
it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Like, we should have been doing that. You should have gotten but hey, that's your say nor there. A couple
Yeah.
comments. Let's see here. Uh, Tania Ellis, love your work, Space Cowboy. Thank you so much. Call him, get him out of here. Let's see what Mike says. Thank you, Space. I've been screaming that. Steele's coming off an ACL injury. It makes sense in my head. Okay, not playing left guard, but swing. That makes sense. I think that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking when he said Terrence Steele was the swing. What I kind of interpreted from that was he's not ready yet. So until then, we're gonna play Tyron at right tackle. That's just
Yeah.
kind of what I took away from it because you kind of had to read between the lines because people like look at it face value and they're like, "What the hell? Like, what do we? No, like we can't be
How do
doing."
you feel about Tyron at left tackle? I mean, at right tackle.
I mean, he's good, but I think the one thing is considering he had to get a ramp up period, he wasn't what you would think. And I think that when Terrence Steele went out, and considering that Tyron was coming back from the injury he did and had little time, I mean, he did his job, and I'm not acting like the dude was trash. That's not what I'm insinuating. All I'm saying is if he had a full season to get ready at right tackle, he's good. I mean, dude, you plugged him at right tackle and he did his job, but there were moments where it was just like,
Getting
I
beat.
don't think he's there yet. And so I was like, what the hell? And then Stevie Mack putting a 310-pound tackle who was just seriously hurt and probably lost some muscle against one Texas a recipe for disaster. I agree. That's why you don't play a guy like him at left guard. And Martin Talks Cowboy says there's smoke screening.
Yeah.
If the Cowboys go left, if the Cowboys, hold on 1 second. Let me. If the Cowboys go tight end and running back, they've lost their damn mind. I mean, that board has to be like no one is there for me to even get on board with that. I see them going left tackle. Tyler will play left guard. What, you're finally agreeing with me on the Dak thing? I mean, I've been saying that, so I don't know. Zach Martin's 32. Thank you so much, Mike, for that clarification. And Zeke brings 0 assets to the team. We might bring Zeke back for $38 and some change. Yes. Now, this is an interesting thing. Q Dog brings up an interesting point here. 12 TDs is something. If it was that easy, every team would have a back with 12 touchdowns. I don't think I can't speak for you, Cole, but for me, I'm not saying that Zeke was trash
Oh,
for what he did. I just think for the money you were paying, you don't pay 10, $15 million to a dude that's a good a pass blocker and a one down goal line back. That's not
yeah.
something that's real. You don't do that shit.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
you can put yourself in this type of position. Zeke probably doesn't look at himself as a running back that regressed. He probably feel like he's still the guy. You know what I'm saying? If nobody wants to admit that, hey, I deserve less. No,
Hmm.
no player in the NFL will be like, oh, I don't deserve that much money. Look at Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? If that news was for real about him, how much he said that the rumors he was asking for? I mean,
For,
well, he got
for Daniel Jones,
yeah, like
he got I think he was looking for
he got
45 or
40 years.
50, and he got the Dak Prescott deal, 40
Yeah,
mil. 4 years, 160 million.
exactly. Now, do you think that he really believed that he deserved that money, and that's what he was
Hmm.
going for? So that's the whole thing about Zeke. He feels like, hey, I am the guy, and I should get, I shouldn't, be stooped to a
Hmm.
lower level. Nobody wants to
That's it.
themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's all
and that
cool. I'm not offended about him wanting to do more, but we all knew where this was gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So
and you're not listen. I want people to understand this, that it's a business at the end of the day, right? We
yeah,
always talk about that, and these players are also part of it. You're not going to go up to your boss and if they ask you, "Hey, we just think you're not good at what you do. Do you want to take a pay cut?" Hell, the fuck no, I ain't doing that shit. No,
I
I
don't
ain't taking
blame
no
him, man.
goddamn pay cut. Here's what you can do. You can either let me go and find another job or whatever the case may be. Like, and again, everybody goes through walks of life differently, and I understand it's like comparing apples to oranges in a sense, but it's still like this. He is a player in of himself. He thinks highly of himself, and that's okay. Like, I'm not going to tell a player how they feel about themselves. What I will say is, like, listen, I could see what Wall 22's telling me, but at the end of the day, that is the Cowboys organization's decision to make. And, people are like, oh, the Cowboys are going to make a big move with all this money. They've already made their moves, I
They
think.
made it. They made it.
They
And
unloaded the clip. Yeah.
clip is empty, man. Because look, when I realized the clip was really empty when
Hmm.
we didn't get Bobby Wagner, and I
Oh,
knew
I
and
agree.
I knew we wasn't gonna get Bobby Wagner because we got LVE, and they
Yep.
wasn't gonna go for both, man. I just knew they weren't gonna go for both. So I was like, once they got LVE, I was like, that's it. And I wasn't surprised to see him go to Seattle. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not surprised either. I'm definitely not surprised at that. I think that was like,
I think
dude.
he wanted to go back to Seattle.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I don't think he really wanted to come to Dallas. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was talks, but the talks got dry very, very fast once they signed LV. And I believe he was like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just go back home. You know what I'm saying? He
Might as
probably like,
well.
he probably like, dang, I done left this place, went to the Rams thinking we about to do something, and shoot, they went to the playoffs without me. You know what I'm saying? So hey, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
I mean, you
It is,
never know what's going to happen, but that's how the NFL is. Like, for
yeah.
example, like, I can't speak on what happened last year. All I did was like, hey, I think Dallas is going to be a good team. I think Philly's going to be a good team. I expect Philadelphia to go 14-3 and do what they did. But here's the thing, and this is kind of going back to that conversation about where the NFL and really the NFC's at.
Yeah,
It's pretty weak.
it is.
Pretty weak. Like the NFC South, there isn't a team that's notable from that division where I'm like, I'm scared of them. The West, Seattle's intriguing because they're rebuilding, and I think they're ahead of schedule than where they were because it's like,
We will
oh,
see how
hmm
how the quarterback is the next season. I don't,
hmm
he had a good season, but we'll see how he is
we'll
next.
see how Gino goes. And I think the same thing for Hurts. Like, listen, I make it clear because I've been consistent with this. Like, you can't go out and say that 1 year goes by, and this goes for any quarterback. I don't give
Yeah,
a shit who anybody says. You can't use 1 year as a saying, hey, this dude's great. Being great requires you to have a track record of doing good and at a high level. And I think that the problem is that for Hurts, we need to see how he's going to do in year two. Or excuse me, I apologize. Technically, it's year 4 now? Yeah, year 4. I'm sorry. Because I keep forgetting he didn't start originally because of Carson Wentz. But look, every team goes through flux, and I think that if you want to, because Cole, I see you messing with the Eagles fans on Twitter and on this
always,
on the
man.
YouTube
This is
streets.
fun. This is fun.
So just for just so people can be educated on this,
Yeah.
there has not been a NFC team that has lost the Super Bowl and gone back since the Vikings in the 70s. Like, that's how long ago you have to go back to see a team that lost the Super Bowl that was an NFC representative. And I mean, for God's sake, you could even just look back to 2014. There hasn't been a repeat NFC champion since then.
Yeah, but they
And
they not gonna listen to that. They don't they drunk on Kool Aid. I mean, even I would think that they
Mhm.
probably would have calmed down after they lost. The fact that they lost, they still like believe that okay, we lost this, but we're gonna go back to the Super Bowl because we the better team than everybody else.
I
And I'm like,
mean,
you can't look at it like that because every team changes
yeah,
every year. Look, the Panthers could be the team that come out here and surprise us all. You know what I'm saying? We don't know.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Teams change every year. Previous to last year, the Eagles barely made it to the playoffs. Nobody saw the Eagles going to the Super Bowl after they lost the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You don't know.
Yeah.
When we 2016, Dak and Zeke, phenomenal year. We was hyped. We believed in 2017. Okay, yeah, we were so close. We got our guy. We're it's different. We about to come back and hit the league. Guess what happened? We didn't make the
9
playoffs.
and 7. Yeah, and it was so up and down. That's how the NFL is, and I
Yeah,
agree with you there. Is it listen, I'm not sitting here and I've gone out on Twitter because people are like, what the hell, It's
yeah.
just look, I'm not trashing their team because of the fact that like I don't because they're a good football club that understands how to build and rebuild and all this other shit. But what I want to be clear though is that you're fighting against historical level stuff, and it's just that I don't see it, and I'm not saying, and this is not me saying Dallas is going to the Super Bowl. People think, oh, are you thinking the Cow? No, I don't. I'm still holding that thought process. But I just think it's funny to me, like, bro, when's the last time that this has happened? Like, also, you lost 5, 6 starters on defense, and the thing is people will be like, oh, well, we can replace those. I'm not saying you can't, but you can't tell me it's not hard to go back to the Super Bowl, especially considering the fact I don't think anybody was expecting Dallas to go through the offseason. I'm not saying that Dallas had a world-beating offseason, to say the least, but it's just process of elimination. Going back to what I was saying, the West, Seattle's going through the rebuild. We'll see how Geno does in the first year of his new contract and all this other stuff. And I know San Francisco is going to be a pain in the ass. It doesn't seem they're going to go after Lamar or anything, which
That would
awesome. Thank
glad-
God.
exactly. That would
Because listen, stick with Brock Purdy because we'll see how they do there. I mean, to be real, I just think, and I can only say for what I see in front of me, it's Dallas, Philly, San Francisco. That's the 3-team race right now,
yeah.
in my opinion. Now, do I think it could? I don't think none of those teams are guaranteed to go all the way. But you know what's important, and I think that I think you would agree with this, Cole, because back in 2016 we had the first seed win, and you get to the NFC Championship game. You saw how important it was for Philly because the matchups they had relatively easy. I'm not saying that we didn't know what the hell the 49ers were going to do in the NFC Championship game, but
we tired we damaged the 49ers.
Oh, easily. Like you could see like you could
saw the
see it.
injury report list, like they barely made it on the field after our game. So
I mean, how are you feeling?
They don't want to admit it, but we destroyed them already. Like they were hurt.
I'm just curious, Cole, because this is a question I like to ask people. Like, where do you feel about the Cowboys right now? Because for me, right, I think that they're in the same position as last year, except they have not lost anybody significantly other than the left guard in Connor McGovern. I feel like they're a team that's good enough to make it to the dance, but it's going to come down to the matchups that exist. And I feel like if Dallas had a number 1 seed, like if they get a number 1 seed in this particular season with how the NFC is shaping up, I can see them winning a game, which would put them in the conference championship game. So I need people to understand, like, it's not a grand delusion to think that you can't win a playoff game, especially with this team. And I said the same thing last year. Hey, this is a team where depending on the matchup, they'll win a playoff game or maybe not, but that's okay. Because that's how I felt about it, and that's not me lowering the bar. It's just being real with the team. But what do you feel? How do you feel about this team right now?
I feel like this team is better than last year's team, and I had low expectations for last year's team because we didn't make no moves. Like we didn't address the hole that we had at wide receiver. At that point, I was not drinking no Kool Aid with the wide receivers. That I like Dennis Houston, but I was not feeding into it. This year, like it's different, and I'm like, we gotta win the number one seed. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
this is the time. This is the window because if you look at it, like you said, it's a three-team race as of today. The 49ers, the Eagles, and us. Like the Panthers, they coming along. The Bears, they're coming along. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? All I know is we're still a good team. We didn't have to rebuild. We just revamped. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
if we win, of course, our division never repeats. 9 times out of 10, we could be winning this division. You know what I'm saying? That's just the curse
Right.
we had in the NFC East. Nobody repeats. If we win the number one seed, that's gold. We can make it to the NFC Championship because look what the Eagles had to deal with. They dealt with the Giants and they dealt with a broken down 49ers team.
Hmm.
I mean, just imagine if we would have, and we weren't too far off. All
Hmm.
we had to do is beat Jacksonville. All we had to do is beat Green Bay, and we could have won the division with the people
Yeah,
that we had. And that's crazy. That's the crazy part. Like we
I
didn't even
know.
try. You
That
know?
is insane. And that what's crazy is that if we had won the division, that means we would have had a 14-3 wild card team, which
Yeah,
odds are, and that's why I'm not a fan. Like I don't mind getting the wild card because I think at the end of the day, like you want to get into the postseason. But
yeah,
the fact you were a 12-win team as a wild card team is unbelievable. Like that is
yeah.
crazy. That
I mean,
rarely happens.
just imagine if we would have played the Giants, we would have beat them.
And
And then the 49ers at that moment, mm, I believe the Eagles would have beat the 49ers if they was in their shoes. So we probably would have been playing the Eagles at home.
I
Like,
agree.
you know what I'm saying? We would have
Which
beat the
we
Eagles
won.
at home.
I definitely think that. So here's the thing, and like what it's funny is when you talk about the road to to where you get, some people look at that as a sign of disrespect. I don't. I look at it as just context, and it's just. I can't blame you for who you play. It's just
Yeah,
it's real. Like if I'm not gonna get mad that you faced a Giants team that overachieved and a beaten up San Francisco team to get to Arizona. Like that's not. I'm not complaining about that. What
yeah.
I would complain is about my damn team not
Not
getting the
doing that.
job done because that's what irks the shit out of me. Now, I think Dallas will win the NFC East
Yeah,
this year,
I
but
believe it.
that's where I think just because history's telling me that. Listen, for all I know, Washington trades for Lamar Jackson. And we're singing a whole different. I'm
Well,
like,
they not gonna do that thing.
no, but no, they're not interested. And I feel bad for Lamar because he definitely deserves a lot better. So I'm hoping he gets out of Baltimore, but just don't come to the NFC. Just don't come here. Uh, but
In the
no,
AFC.
man, I agree. I think the NFC getting that top spot is huge, especially with how weak the conference is. And what scares me, Cole, is that if the Cowboys can't capitalize, I think this is going to be like you kind of might have to push the reset button. And I hate to say that,
Yeah,
but yeah, because it's like I feel like you have a 2 to 3 year window.
yeah.
You realistically have a 2 to 3 year window, and if you can't capitalize on that, like, what do we got to do?
It depends on how things shake up.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes to the point where you know Dak doesn't succeed, he out of here, man. That's where we going at as far as the extension.
Right. And
I think that they're making. I don't think he gonna get an extension. I don't think they're gonna extend him.
I don't think they're gonna do it this year. I think that
That's what I'm
what they'll
saying.
do is here's what I think is gonna happen. I think that if the Cowboys are like, and again, you can feel Dak on however you want. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
tell you how I see it. If the Cowboys really say, I want Dak Prescott to be the quarterback for the rest of his career here in Dallas, they'll do it. They will give him the money. And that's why the $59.4 million cap hit doesn't matter because if they extend him in 2024, that cap hit goes from $59.4 million down to $19.9 million. So don't let it get it twisted. Like that if they extend him, that cap hit's going to come down. And don't let people try to fool you and being like, oh, like I saw Brian Broaddus go on a tweet like the $50 million. Bro, you never pay that amount unless you get there and you can do cap manipulation. Like, by the way,
they did it for like a 10-year thing, like they did Mahomes or something like that, like spread it out. That makes sense.
right. And that's okay with it because I'm like, listen, what I would want to do is if you're going to say, and if you tell me, Space Cowboy, we want to extend Dak Prescott. Okay, if that's your fundamental belief and that's what you want to do, give him a deal that's not a short-term deal, but a longer-term deal that could spread the money out. That's how I feel on it. If you feel like I do not want to keep Dak Prescott, what you need to do is then have the conversation of, okay, well, let's make preparations to move on. And the problem is the no trade clause. I've had conversations with people like, oh, you can get around that. No, it's not as easy though as if you just trade for someone. Like, so
get him to take the trade clause out. That's how
that's
people pan out. He can trade. You can trade him. A team will trade for that.
Oh yeah, they would.
People fool you, man. It's some desperate teams out there that will get that.
I'm not saying that Dak isn't. Oh yeah, I'm definitely not saying that no one would want Dak. What I'm saying is that you don't know how those conversations are gonna go. You don't. Like, for all we know, Dak's like, no, I want to stay here. If you like, I'm not letting you trade me. Like, because remember, this is what's funny. Remember when Derek Carr was like, okay, like I would love to go to the Saints, and they were going to trade for him. He's like, well, no, I don't want to get traded actually. So they cut him, and then he still went to the Saints anyway. That's where you kind of had to think about it that way. Like, these players are not stupid.
Exactly. They know how it goes. They know.
They're not stupid. So if Dak Prescott's like, yeah, I want to go to that team, and they're like, okay, we'll trade you. And then they're like, actually, no, I don't want to get traded. I'll just play this year out. And they can't tag him. So this could be a game of cap. I don't really care. I mean, at this point, just you got to make your decision. That's all I care about is that don't sit on your thumbs and hands and act like, okay, we're all good. No. We're not doing that. You make the decision. And I said this in one of my videos. Mm-hmm. You make this decision now. You say, yes, we want you here, or no, you don't. It doesn't matter. Like, you can't just sit on your hands and then say like, okay, well, we don't know what we want to do, because that's the same shit that gets you in every single contract issue. And speaking of which, Diggs and Lamb are contract extension eligible. Yeah, let me ask you this. Who do you think is the more, and I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to answer on this. What's the more pressing need on this whole signing front?
Lamb.
Okay.
I say Lamb. I would like Diggs. Diggs, I mean, both of them really deserve it. Right now, Diggs is more pressing because he's a second-round pick, so we got to get him locked up.
Right.
Lamb could wait because we can pick up a fifth-year option on him. Hopefully, it doesn't get like that, but we can. I know how we are, so we probably might do. Depending on how the market is for wide receivers, mm-hmm. It's kind of low right now. But I would say Diggs, definitely. You want to lock him up.
Mm-hmm.
He had a phenomenal second year, and last year was good too because, I mean, they weren't really throwing the ball his way. But they also throwing shade his way too after how that game with San Francisco went. So I don't know. You know, I don't know how they're thinking. I mean, we're like projected to also like look at Emmanuel Forbes.
Yes, the Cowboys did meet with him formally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't that raise like a little flag to you that they're looking at a guy to like draft? I mean, they could say, "Hey, we're trying to get somebody on the end," but know what these guys are like.
You know how these dudes operate. You know, this is what I said. I think I said it on Twitter. I said, "This is what they're gonna do." Diggs and them are going to get into, because this is the contract year for Diggs. They're going to get into it, and then they're going to draft a dude, and then Diggs is going to, they're going to go back and forth, and they're going to tag him in 2024. He'll be the tagged player in 2024, which I hate. I don't believe the franchise tag should be a thing, and I'm not just saying that. It just it puts these players in a hostage situation they shouldn't be in. Let these guys go get their goddamn money. So I see people like, let's trade Diggs. I'm telling you right now, and this is the same thing. Don't do this thing with the tag. You either want him or you don't. If you don't want Diggs, let the dude walk and get a comp pick from him. I disagree. I would want us to keep Diggs because this is what's funny, Cole, is that there are fans that are like, we want a guy that could be a ball hawk and shut down and this other shit. And then we get that guy because Byron Jones wasn't it. So they're like, okay, let's let him go because he can't get interceptions. You get that guy and Trevon. And then all of the fucking sudden, we're like, all right, let's trade him because he ain't like, what are we doing here, folks?
We have a crazy fan. Like our fan base is toxic.
Oh, on God, it is like for real.
It's toxic. It's ridiculous because they let the 3 and 4 letter networks hypnotize them into thinking that these players are trash. But if they go out, say for instance, Diggs go out into free agency, man, he'll get scooped up instantly.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why the Cowboys keep these guys around for so long and let them go whenever all the gas is out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Like that's what I'm saying, man. Is they'll be doing this bullshit where they go like, oh, you know what, man? You know, I like, and this goes for any player, dude.
They did Diz, man. They did Diz the same way.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing though, is we know, I still think you need to draft a corner. Because Stephon Gilmore's like they think that Stephon Gilmore has a lot left in the tank, unless you're extending the dude. Which, if you were gonna do that, you should do that now. But I don't think they're gonna do that.
You at 2, about to be 33. Like that's
so yeah, and I mean it's just kind of like, but you're not asking this dude to be cornerback 1. Yeah, you're just asking this dude to be cornerback 2. So we're kind of getting towards the 1 hour mark, and you know, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And also, if you've been watching for a while, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe. I have on the pinned comment, please go subscribe to Cole's Cowboys. Please make sure to do that. And yeah, I mean, right now, Cole, I'm really big on just drafting an offensive lineman. Let's just get the left guard and let's just go from there. You're the same way. Let's get an offensive lineman.
Way. Like last year, look how last year was. Last year, we was hoping that we would have got like a premier defensive guy. Maybe wide receivers weren't really that big last year. We was looking on getting like a weapon, and we got Tyler Smith. Everybody was like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Even like, you know, the experts were saying that we was like horrible. That was a horrible pick. And he ended up being like a big key point of our season. Like he was great. You know what I'm saying? And he played guard and tackle. You know what I'm saying? As a rookie. Like he was handling a lot of guys that's been in the league, that's been, you know, terrorizing the league for years. He held his own. So why not go out there and do it again? You know what I'm saying? Get another guy. Because offensive lines matter, man. They really do. If you have a horrible offensive line, like it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work good for you. I mean, look. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying. The Bengals, they find their way around it. You know, they got the personnel that can handle that. But just imagine how we were when we had that Great Wall of Dallas. If it was like, and we're trying to be a run team. We need all O-linemen. We need O-linemen.
They're close. Yeah. I think when you look at the line from left to right, and Tyler Smith, just amazing. Like I think that you could. And people forget, dude is young as hell. Like we drafted him when he was 20 years old, and what's awesome about it, he's gonna probably be there for 10 plus years. Yeah. He has very similar parallels to Tyron. Very similar, and maybe not like the big monster dude that Tyron is when you see him, but came into the league very damn young, and he's that staple there. I think it's going to be the same way on that end. I think that you have Tyler at left tackle for the foreseeable future, and of course you get your guys behind him. Then at left guard, I think this is where you can go after a Steve Avila or an Osiris Torrance, whatever your flavor of the day is there. I think with Torrance, he's a bit slower getting to the second level, but he's going to maul the shit out of you on level 1. But I like Steve Avila more. I think the reason why is the contingency plan for Tyler Biadasz, because Tyler Biadasz is in a contract year as well. People do forget about this. So if you're not going to pay Tyler Biadasz and you're saying, you know what, even though I think Tyler Biadasz, being a Pro Bowler, he's finally reached that caliber of player that we wanted him to see. I was about to
give up on that guy, man.
I was like, you know, Tyler, you kind of need to do a little bit more work, and he finally got there. I'm happy he's there. I think if the Cowboys really want to solidify this offensive line, and then this is kind of where you got to make these tough decisions, and they're kind of saying the same thing about Steele, even though I'm like, don't fuck around with your tackles. I think that if you really want to have ultimate position flex, you go after Steve Avila because Steve Avila can be your center moving forward. In my opinion, having a good center or great center is way more damn important than guard. And I understand
Avila, he's from
TCU.
TCU. Okay, that's what I
Hmm.
figured. TCU. Okay. Yeah, I seen some of his tape. They was talking about it on my guy Skywalker. They were talking
Hmm.
about. I like that. But
Yeah.
I hope like if some type of miracle that Speransky drops. I mean, how
Oh
you
my God. If he, dude,
like
let me tell you something.
I need to make some
If,
fake videos about him or something, man, to get him.
if that mother effer makes his way to 26 or is anywhere in the 20s, I'm trading up and getting that
I
guy.
swear, man.
Dude, you get that fucker and you plug him in on this line. Oh,
Gosh,
you're
man.
set. You're set for years to come because he is a damn good prospect.
Good.
He's
You know what I'm
probably
saying?
because Northwestern has been putting out
Yeah.
really damn good. I mean, they got Rashawn. Looking at a prospect, he's not as. I don't think he's where Rashawn Slater was when he was coming out, but he's like in near that level. If that makes any sense, like on the tape,
Yeah.
that's what it tells me. But I think that that's the thing is that, and Cole's bringing up that point. You don't know what can happen in this draft.
Yeah.
We don't. Like, you can have JSN fall to you, and you're like, oh wow, okay, I'll take him.
I'll take
Oh,
it.
I would take him too. You can have a lot of these dudes fall to you, and I think that you can be satisfied. And that's what I like about this draft season as opposed to others. We're not anxious. We're not like, we need this, this, and this. Now we can just be like, hey, as long as you go into that first round, and if you can make it make sense to me, I'm okay with it. That's just where they stand. I don't want them to, like, after Dalton Kincaid had the whole back issue thing come out, I was like, nope, I don't want him. And I
really
like Dalton
didn't.
Kincaid.
I
I
ain't really want him. Like
mhm.
I guess it's because of getting a tight end at first. Like, what tight end that we seen in this league that came out the first round was the guy? A lot of these
Right.
GOAT tight ends came like at the third, fourth rounds, like unknown.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm getting like when I thought about him and even Washington, and I'm sure Washington's a stud. He'll be a stud in the league.
Mhm.
But I'm getting vibes from Kyle Pitts, man, and it may be because of the system that Kyle Pitts is in.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts suffers from the Falcons just
Yeah,
being the Falcons, and I feel like if he was in any other organization, he would be just fine. Like, and that's the thing that kind of bothers me is like people
yeah.
think that like, oh, he's a bad player. No, it's not that he's bad. It's just you got to pay attention to the team he's on. So, like, listen, Atlanta, if you want to give up like a third round pick for him, I'll take him gladly on the Cowboys because you can do a
I'm
lot
in
with Kyle.
Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, and these people out here are sad, man. Like I feel sorry for them. They don't even want to wear their own jerseys out here.
And also, we got to remember Kyle Pitts, and I see Ultra Cowboy made the point, and I see it on my screen. He was the first or one of the he had like the most receiving yards by attendant by
Yeah,
a rookie, 1,000 yards. He only had like one touchdown or some shit.
but
But
it's
like
unknown. It's so unknown right
but no, I agree with you. Like, you don't know because history shows you that the tight end position traditionally, if you take them in the first round, it doesn't really go well for you. But down the road, it can. But it's
Yeah,
just it's not an immediate impact. I'm rocking with my dudes Fergie and Henny for as long as I can because you can see that. But there are every position, in my opinion, if you have the ability to upgrade, go for it. I'm
yeah,
not complaining. But like after that, I'm like, nah, I ain't good. But it's a good thing, those linebackers, because I think you need to draft a linebacker, all things considered. The linebackers aren't as hot of a commodity as they were when combine season started. It's weird. Like Drew Sanders, Trenton Simpson,
I agree.
all these guys, they were viewed as going in the first round. And now
I think they second round guys.
now they're like second. Yeah, I agree. I think that realistically, the only first round grade I have on a linebacker or the closest is maybe Drew Sanders because of what he can do. But like, I don't know. And Will McDonald's a name you want to keep an eye on. I don't think he's going to go in for the first round.
No,
I would be shocked. I mean, he's a Dan Quinn guy, and so you want to keep an eye out where Dan Quinn goes.
yeah,
But I think the biggest thing is that we need to be ready for when that happens. Like, don't be shocked if the Cowboys take a tight end at pick 26. They have kind of given. This is how I feel, unless something crazy happens, and we'll kind of start wrapping this thing up.
yeah,
Is that if the Cowboys like a tight end at 26 and they want him, they will get him. And same thing with offensive linemen. I think it's going to be between those two. And by the way, this is subject to change. My whole thing is because we don't know how drafted night is going to fall. Like, I mean, I don't know. I I really don't know.
It's a big question mark. I don't know where they're gonna go. I'd hope we don't get a running back in the first round. We cannot go through that again. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We cannot go through that again. I mean, the whole Bijan thing. The Eagles, they're hyping this guy up like he's a Damian Thompson. I hope they get.
Bijan's good, but like,
I hope they get. I'd rather them because
oh,
they got knees on defense. So I hope they go out there.
dude, I would laugh my ass off if they took a running. Now, listen, that's no insult to Bijan. I want
Yeah,
people to understand that Bijan Robinson is a fantastic player, and I have a first round grade on him. And
yeah,
just because I say he's a first round grade doesn't mean you should take him in the first round high.
exactly.
But what I'm telling you is him and Gibbs. Me personally, Gibbs is running back one to me because I think Gibbs
I get
can
it.
have his game last longer than Robinson. But you don't take a running back that early really anymore unless like you're like, okay, we have the pieces. Like if Philly had the team constructed last year and there was a Bijan Robinson where they were picking, I'm having a different conversation. Okay, that can make sense. But you don't take a running back when you lost 5 starters on defense
Exactly.
and you're gonna
Yeah,
act like everything's okay.
I mean, go ahead and get them. You know what I'm saying?
By all means,
We
take
got an
them.
opportunity to get Jalen Carter. We can get these.
Oh no,
Jalen
Jalen Carter. I think Jalen Carter is gonna go before they pick.
Yeah,
I
you think so?
I think I would not be shocked by that in the slightest.
Yeah.
I think,
They can still
yeah,
get Nolan Smith. They can get a good defensive, piece. But if they want to get Bijan, go ahead because I know they're not going to use both of their first round.
also, and here's the big thing, Coles, is that I think that for me, taking a running back with a top 10 pick is more heinous than taking one in the 20s or even in the late 30s because it's like, okay, if you have all of your favorite prospects off the board and no one you like is remotely better than what you feel about Bijan or Gibbs, okay, I'm not going to complain. Like it has to come to fruition for me to be like, okay, I like that. But I think that if you're going to take a running back, go with Gibbs because with Gibbs,
Yeah,
here's what happens: if you take a guy like Jameer Gibbs gives you a reason not to pay Pollard. As much as I hate that, because again, I want these players to get their money. You don't have to pay Pollard. That's $10 million back in your pocket, so you can give those extensions out, right? And now you have a guy that's going to be on your team. Um, and can do things like a wide receiver can. Like he has a better route tree than Bijan Robinson. I think his game, especially if you pair him with a workhorse back, will last him a lot longer in the National Football League. Because with Bijan, you have to make him the premier back. You have to.
exactly.
So,
And it's another back that we ain't really talking about, and that's McBride. And McBride is a good blocker too.
oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Bijan is not a blocking back. His blocking is
he's not there. He's
yeah,
not there yet. And I think if he gets there, he'll be awesome.
yeah.
But you can say the same thing with Gibbs too. I mean, Gibbs,
Gibbs not really.
that's not part of his game though.
It's not his game, but Brad is solid, man. I seen his film, and I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind having that guy on our team. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, this was a fantastic
Yeah,
conversation. Definitely gonna
yeah,
do it
man.
again sometime. And I know, I think I'm not sure if what was a prime it was a primetime Phil. Yeah, primetime
Yeah,
Phil
yeah. We're gonna be linking up tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah. So we're doing so for those that are following, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, both of our channels, please, and hit the link if you're on my end. We're gonna be doing a draft show tomorrow, I believe, at 8 Eastern. Mock draft first round, I believe it is. I don't want to give away too much because we're gonna have some fun there, and I'm gonna stream it on my end as well again, so you guys can partake. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
Definitely
I
nice.
think, huh?
I say yes. We're definitely gonna be nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Listen, yeah, and I'm telling you right now that I can't believe we're almost in April.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Dude, we're we're almost a quarter through the year, and I thought the year just started.
it's going faster than how it was last year. I guess because we were so down in the dumps. But we've been, there's been a lot of exciting news going on this past couple of weeks. So, hey, I'm all for it, man.
I think because now, like, and the last thing I'll say, and then I'll get you
Happy birthday,
happy
man.
birthday to you, Chad. I'll let you get the final word in too. I think the biggest thing for me is that the team is trying as much as I would like them to try more. In my opinion, they're trying. That's kind of why I had apathy towards this team. Is you weren't trying. You were just sitting and letting stuff happen and acting like everything's okay, which isn't true. In fact, it was what you didn't do last year that cost you this year, or last year, I guess you could say now at this point. So I think that the Cowboys addressed the two biggest pressing needs on their team. And now we go into the draft doing whatever the hell you want to do. And I'm not gonna be like mad if they do so. Like you have to do something like egregious for me to be like that pissed with the first pick. Like it would have to be like a guy that I was thinking like you can get in the third round or some shit. Like I don't know. I
You
because
gotta
people
really mess it up.
you gotta really fuck it up. Like if
I
you
got a lot of faith in our guy. Will McClay, he ain't gonna
he better not, or I'm gonna be like Will like what are we doing here
drop.
now? I wouldn't be upset if we traded down either. I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I
But
don't mind trading
yeah.
down.
But yeah, Coles, I'll let you get in the final word for you here today. And I mean, again, this was really damn fun.
Yeah,
Just
man.
seeing, and also just hey, it's fun because Cowboys Nation, we have shit to talk about. I got a lot of videos to get done to talk about Jerry and Mike and everything. So, Coles, tell me where the people could find you at and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, y'all can find me at Coles Cowboys, same handle for YouTube and Twitter. Hey, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been an honor. I love your content. Definitely, we definitely be going back and forth on Twitter as well, man. Looking forward to linking up with a lot of Cowboy
Oh
content
yeah,
because hey, I've been networking with a lot of Eagle fans. I do the little troll from time to time, but I really do want to go ahead and link up with a lot of Cowboy content creators. So hey, if you're doing content, if you're new upcoming, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? I would love for us to collab. I would love to pick your brain. I just want to have a good conversation like me and Space just had.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm more than happy to do the same as long as it's nothing stupid. But no, man, I can't wait. So, guys, please make sure to subscribe to Cole's Cowboys, and also make sure to keep an eye out for Primetime Phil's channel as well, because we got the big thing doing tomorrow night at 8. I'll put the details on my channel once I have everything confirmed, and I believe I have everything confirmed on my end. But yeah, another damn good show here today, and I'm really excited that the Cowboys actually did stuff so that we're not like pulling the whatever hair I have left out of my head to be like, can they please do something? We're almost in April. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your night and have a safe